Hey there everybody, Michael Mass here, and welcome to this week's edition of the Disney Diner Review, your one-stop shop for everything food and foodie at Walt Disney World. And you've caught us right in the middle of steak month. The last 2 weeks we went to the Yachtsman, we went to Artist Point. Today we're going to a place maybe not so much known, Flying Fish right there, not so much known for their steaks, but known for seafood. I will tell you why we were headed here. A couple weeks back, I was eating at a restaurant and a cast member said this is literally the best steak on property that they have had. So I said, I am gonna go give it a try. Let's go to the Flying Fish, give it a little try and see what it's all about. We have been seated here at the Flying Fish. Let's go ahead and take a look at the menu. Take a look at the menu here at the Flying Fish. We'll start off with the appetizers, the potato leek bisque, crispy soft shell crab, the Costco Bay mussels, carbuta pork belly, crispy Virginia oysters, chilled jumbo shrimp, the grilled baby romaine, the endive and frenzy salad, as well as the evolution of cheese. Here are the entrees here at the Flying Fish. You got the sea bass, you have the mahi, the filet mignon, the charred rusted New York strip easy for you to say, the char crusted New York strip steak, as well as the Hokkaido scallop garganelli, that's what it is, pasta. All of these things are really fun for me to say tonight, as well as the green circle chicken, the Schooner Bay salmon. You also can add some enhancements down here with the Skull Island shrimp and the Hokkaido scallops. After we ordered the food, the bread showed up. You get this little cheese spread that goes on top of it. So far, so good with that. While we wait for the food to come out, let's take a look. Let's take a look around the restaurant. Food has come out and my guest has ordered the sea bass. This is what the sea bass looks like here. Obviously I'm going to focus more on the steak, but this is what the sea bass looks like here at the Flying Fish. Here is that New York strip steak served with the baked potatoes and the green beans there, or I shouldn't say baked potatoes, more like a tuber setup with a huge steak. That's a 10-ounce steak, but that seems like a really, really big steak for a 10-ounce steak. I am ready to dig in. Here is the dessert menu. You have the Under the Sea. You have the blueberry limes and seashells. You have the panna carpa, which is a buttermilk panna cotta. You have the Florida Reef, the lemon tart, the toasted meringue, Florida citrus salad, and once again that evolution of cheese. It just keeps showing up everywhere on the menu. Well, that was the Flying Fish over at Disney's Boardwalk Resort. Let's talk about everything that the Flying Fish brought to the table on this given night. That night we had our waiter was Joey. Joey was amazing. Lindsay was the manager. She was equally amazing, as she brought out the Florida Reef dessert just to kind of show us the dessert and be able to bring it to you. I don't know what it tastes like because usually at the end of a meal I do not have room for dessert. But on this given occasion, the manager did bring it out and at least let us see what it looked like, so I can show you here. Let's get to the meat of the subject, to the main dishes. My guest on that night had the sea bass. I am not a big sea bass person, but I did try the sea bass with the red wine reduction, and you know what? I actually enjoyed it. I just had a small taste, and my guest definitely enjoyed it. Thought it was really, really, really good. What's up next, guys? We are gonna talk about that charred strip steak, the charred strip steak here there at the Flying Fish. I'll tell you what, several weeks back I was at Sanaa, and that's what got the recommendation to go to the Flying Fish to try the char steak there. Rochelle over at Sanaa said this is one of the best steaks on property. You probably should put it on your list of places to go, and guess what? I did, and it did not disappoint. Everything about this was just a really good meal. The potatoes and green beans to itself were good, but the char steak, that char on there was just, wow, I was kind of surprised. And for a strip steak, it's a little bit surprising for me because I'm just not a big strip steak person. The first week, obviously, we went to Yachtsman and had that ribeye, which I prefer. Last week, we went to Artist's Point, a little bit more disappointing, but and not disappointing in like a big way, but just a little bit when it comes to that hanger steak. But the strip steak here at the Flying Fish was on point, was definitely on point. Here's the only thing I would change about this whole setup. There's a sauce that comes on top of it. I would definitely order that sauce on the side because I did not like that sauce or anything about it. Everything else about that strip steak was perfect. It was prepared perfectly. It tasted amazing. Like I said, I would actually order this again, which is surprising once again because I do not like strip steaks. Now let's go ahead and talk about the price here. The mahi-mahi, actually it was a sea bass, $36. My steak was 44, and that totals up to around $80. Take off the discount, throw in the tip, you still end up in that $80 range for 2 people to go eat at the Flying Fish. Now let's rate everything. Service, 5 stars. Service, amazing. Atmosphere, let's talk about atmosphere at the Flying Fish. Here's the deal with the atmosphere. It was really quiet. It wasn't the quietest place I've been. Artist Point's probably that, but when it comes to like chill and relaxing and quiet, the atmosphere was great at the Flying Fish, and I give it 4.5 to 5, somewhere in that range. Like, that's about where it's at. It's up, it's top notch, trust me, top notch there. And the meal, the food, the steak, the potatoes, the mahi-mahi. I keep wanting to say mahi-mahi, I don't know why. But the sea bass, the bread, everything that went along with that, we're gonna give that right at the 4.5. Yeah, 4.5 seems about right for the steak here. The steak, the food, everything else that went along with that. And I do think that steak's about a 4.5. It wasn't perfect. It was a strip steak, for crying out loud. But for a strip steak, it was a really, really good strip steak. I am gonna give the Flying Fish a 4.5. Definitely on the recommended restaurant list for me when it comes to Walt Disney World. I definitely have to go back there. I do think it's kind of one of those hidden gems that I just had never thought about eating there. I just was like, I put it off. I was like, yeah, I'll go sometime. But once that steak was recommended, I kind of had to listen to people in the know, and I'm glad I did because that steak was a really, really good steak. And who knows, it might just make that list we got coming up here in a couple of weeks. We're like 2 weeks away from my list of the top 5 steaks, the top 5 steaks at Walt Disney World. You're not gonna wanna miss that, guys. You know what, I gotta get out of here. The sun is baking me, but I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, make sure to hit that like button. And if you haven't, join the notification, that bell right there. I mean, because I know you're subscribed, so you might as well hit that bell. Get the notifications when all of these steak reviews and that steak review, the top 5 steaks, is up here in about 2 weeks. So you don't want to miss that, guys. I'm gonna get out of here. I hope you are having an amazing week and a magical week. Until next time, the Flying Fish, 4.5, that steak, 4.5, and the service there was amazing. I'll see you next time, guys. Until then, thank you for your time. Here's the life.